Hi, my name is Randy Mason. I'm the managing partner at Commercial Realty Specialists, and today I'd like to give you another idea to share. Today's idea to share has to do with 6 tips on how commercial properties can get or stay leased. Very, very important topic for many landlords. And this is coming from a perspective, remember, from a tenant representative or buyer representative, that side of the transaction. That's why I'm trying to educate the other side. Number 1, be very, very responsive. Be responsive to potential tenants or, not necessarily more importantly, but their leasing representatives. When we are making calls to show clients properties and it takes 2 days, 3 days, 4 days for somebody to get back to us, often we just say, gosh, I would really like to show that property, but unfortunately we're going to have to move on. Number 2, don't delay. Or actually, this is number 1, but it's don't delay in responding to emails or telephone calls. So I'm just elaborating more on the first one. Number 2, if at all possible, have a combination lockbox or some other type of lockbox on your property. There's nothing more frustrating than wanting to show a piece of property to a potential client, really thinking that it could work for them and not being able to get into that particular building or suite. So what often happens is a client will say, Randy, I need to look at this property right now, and unfortunately I can't get in touch with the owner or the landlord's representative, and therefore we need to move on. We need to go to a different property. Also, number 3, considering offering an above standard tenant improvement allowance or other type of consideration or concession. I've even heard of landlords offering tenant or buyer representatives a broker incentive of $1 to, I've seen it as high as $5 a square foot. That's a bit excessive, I think. But what it did do is when the brokerage community sees a $5 leasing incentive, you can bet they are going to be doing whatever they can to show that property. What I recommend to some landlords that are friends of mine, offer an incentive that perhaps is a bit unrealistic to reach. As an example, a $5 leasing incentive if the lease is culminated or signed within 30 days, 45 days. That's a very difficult hurdle to get over, but what it does is it really gets a lot of activity in the marketplace. Consider offering complimentary space planning services. So if you really think about it, if you're a tenant and you're not sure the space is going to work for you, if you're an astute landlord and you're able to offer complimentary space planning services, it may in fact turn the tide with regard to having the space work for that potential tenant. Consider having not above standard, but building standard materials or a storyboard in the suite or building. We find this very, very advantageous for the tenant to be able to get an idea of, hey, what type of carpeting is the landlord thinking about putting into this building? What about the baseboards? Maybe there are certain ceiling tiles that they were planning on putting into that particular building. It just helps the tenant visualize what the space could look like, because frankly, often many spaces are not rent ready for a tenant to move into. Tenant improvements do need to be completed within the property. Without a doubt, be aggressive with your leasing terms. Let the market know that you're flexible on lease rate and or concessions or tenant improvement packages or other types of incentive. What you really want to do is create a buzz and excitement for your particular property, and that will help your building get leased, or if nothing else, stay leased. That was my idea to share.